Namaste and good morning. So today our topic is Yog Nidra. And I'm sure some of you are already familiar with this technical term. But Yog Nidra has been used for different ways lately. And it's not so uncommon to borrow the old terms for new practices. For example, Kriya Yoga, according to Rishi Patanjali, Kriya Yoga is part of Raj Yoga. So Tap Swadhyay Ishwar Pranidhan. That's it, technically the Kriya Yoga. But Yogananda ji used the Kriya Yoga for some pranayam and some meditation techniques. The same thing, the term Ashtanga Yoga. Rishi Patanjali said Ashtanga Yoga, that is a Raj Yoga, and has 8 parts to it. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. But these days we see that Ashtanga Yoga word is used for Hatha Yoga also. So Ashtanga way, Ashtanga Yoga, to do the asanas. So Yog Nidra term is also used differently. What it used to be classical practice of Yog Nidra, which was gradual drawing your consciousness into a very profound awareness of sleep. So mind is sleeping, but awareness is present during Yog Nidra. But more recently, this term has been used for relaxation exercises, Yog Nidra. So 2 words, Yog and Nidra. So Yoga is gradual implementation of practices that make the mind pointed and finally transcend the mind. And Nidra is sleep. In particular, the dreamless sleep, the deep sleep. So it's a deep state of conscious sleep. That's what Yog Nidra means. So it's something very particular, not just relaxation techniques. So in its purest sense, what Yog Nidra is supposed to accomplish, that's what we're going to learn today. But it might help us to have some idea of the basic sleep. In the process of falling asleep, we all know that there is a waking state, dreaming state, and dreamless state. So it's like a passage we go through from waking, dreaming to deep sleep. And that's how the mind is drawn inward. In Yog Nidra, there are certain practices which are necessary. Some physical practices, exercises, some subtle exercises, so that we can relax our muscles also, our joint system also. We are more aware of our body. Then there's a concentration on our breath also. Then there's a deep relaxation, which is called Shavasana. And the one we are going to practice today, it has 61 points of Shavasana. And then after that, you will see that certain practices to rest and focus the mind. Then you go through the Agya Chakra, the Vishuddha Chakra, and Anahat Chakra. So you got to be familiar with these 3 chakras also. Agya Chakra is this third eye. Vishuddha Chakra is right here, the throat center. And Anahat Chakra is the heart center. So these 3 centers you are supposed to know. So when I say that concentrate on the Agya Chakra, you should know that. Where is our Agya Chakra? It is an amazing journey. In our practice today, it will take about 45 minutes. You can do it shorter ones also, but we are going to record this 45 minutes Yog Nidra today. So Yog Nidra theory is, how can I move from waking, dreaming, deep sleep, consciously. And this whole practice is step by step, working with your body, working with your breath, nervous system, senses, working with your state of consciousness as you are led deeper and deeper into this practice. So gaining a full control of your body and your autonomic nervous system. So it is a practice. It's not something which we only read about or learn about. So when you practice it, only then you get the full benefit of it. Physical, mental, emotional being. So you can see that it's more than just a mere relaxation. It helps us travel deeply within. So what is the goal? The goal is a greater inner awareness of the body. Body at the physical level and the subtle level also, or the states of consciousness you can talk about. There are a lot of benefits of it, because why spend 45 minutes, an hour into this? There are a lot of benefits. Definitely it includes relaxation of your body and the nervous system, reduction of stress, stress-related diseases, and conscious rest that reduces the need for sleep also. If you think that you need 8 hours of sleep, if you can just do the Yog Nidra, you will need shorter. Some people sometimes ask, can I do this instead of meditation? Yes, you can. This is one way to erase your impressions, the sanskaras from your deep mind also, the chit also. So this can be used in place of meditation. So Yog Nidra is a systematic method of inducing complete physical, mental, and emotional relaxation. When you are practicing it, it seems like to a third person that you are sleeping. But consciousness is functioning at a deeper level of awareness. So that's why some people call this practice a psychic sleep also, because there's an inner awareness there. In this threshold state between sleep and wakefulness, contact with the subconscious and unconscious dimensions occur spontaneously. And the state of relaxation reaches where you are turning inward. See, when we are relaxing and we are watching TV, our awareness is in the outer field. When we think we're going to go for a walk or go on a vacation, awareness is in the outer field. In Yog Nidra, you are turning yourself inward, away from your outer experiences. It becomes very powerful. And you can use this for many different ways. For example, developing memory, or increasing your knowledge, becoming more creative, and even transforming your nature. If part of your nature you really don't, you're not comfortable with, you can transform yourself also. In Raj Yoga, there is a state called Pratyahar. Pratyahar. When you are controlling your senses or sensory channels. So Yog Nidra is one aspect of Pratyahar. And from Pratyahar, you can rise to the higher stages of yoga, states of concentration, meditation, and samadhi. Because often we say that we don't have any control over our senses. But if you practice Yog Nidra, you'll have more and more control over your senses. And when this relaxation is complete, the receptivity is greater. So this is the secret of Yog Nidra. When the consciousness is connected to all the senses, the receptivity is less. When the senses are shut down, then receptivity is more. When you withdraw your mind a little bit and enter into a state where you are neither into a deep sleep state and neither nor you are fully awake, whatever impressions you put in there, they enter into your mind more powerfully. And they remain there. Because otherwise your intelligence or your conscious mind doesn't let you have the new impressions. We are all familiar with the distinct levels of our mind. Mind is like a soil. Part of our mind is a hard soil. Part of our mind is a tender soil. The conscious mind is like a hard soil because it has intellect in it. Logic is in operation because intellect is a process of analyzing things. It doesn't want to accept anything because it knows how to reject also. But the deeper consciousness is not like that. Deeper layers of our mind will accept. And that's what happens during the Yog Nidra. So it's like you are working on your tender soil. So, but we should not try to sleep. You should try to keep awake, because if you sleep, then it's not a Yog Nidra. So in Yog Nidra, remember, the consciousness is in a state between waking and sleep. But it is subject to neither. Another benefit of Yog Nidra is your intuition, the intuitive power heightens. And from intuition, you get the answers to a lot of questions in your life. Intuition. There's no doubt about intuition. Intellect can have the doubts, but intuition does not. We have seen in the last 100 years or so, the way of life has changed greatly. The social systems, other systems are no longer the same. And that's why there's a dispersion of human energies at all levels. Majority of the people, very hard for them to even have a balanced life or even a harmony in every sphere of existence. We are so engrossed in material survival that we are not aware of what has been happening to us. We are faced with a new epidemic of stress-related disorders caused by inability to adapt to the highly competitive pace of human life. And it's getting worse and worse. It's almost like an international problem. Tension, hypertension, total tension. Even little kids, they talk about tension. And if you're able to balance your tensions, you can control your emotions, you can control your anger, you can control your passions, you can control heart disease, you can control your blood pressure, etc. Because this is all related. That's why we see more and more people sick, because life is out of balance. They say there are 3 folds of tensions. Whether you think too much or you don't think at all, you accumulate tension. Some of us work physically very hard and some don't, but still everybody accumulates tension. Some people sleep a lot, or some people have a hard time sleeping. Or a person can have a rich protein diet or a carb diet or a vegetarian diet or any kind of a diet. Still people say that we have tension. And these tensions, they amass in different layers of the human personality. muscular level, emotional level, and mental level. Okay? So it's not only in the mind alone. This tension can be anywhere. So in yoga, we deal with the problem of tension with a wide periscope. We realize that if the mind is tense, the stomach will also be tense. And if the stomach is tense, the whole circulatory system is also tense. Because this is a one system. And it is a vicious circle of events. So in yoga, relaxation from tension is one of the chief concerns. Learn how to let go of these tensions. Yogic texts, all of them, they say that peace can only be found within, never without. So that's why these are the practices we need to do within. If we wish to create a more peaceful world, we must first learn how to relax, harmonize our body and mind. And modern psychology also says the same thing, actually. But yoga gives us the techniques, the systematic practice. So this is what Yog Nidra is, a systematic practice. And progressively, how can we get rid of this tension? Let me tell you the difference between these: muscular tension, emotional tension, and mental tension. Muscular tensions are related to the body itself, the nervous system, and endocrinal imbalances. So deep relaxation attained in a state of Yog Nidra, you can have your muscles relaxed. So muscular tension can be removed. We don't have to go anywhere. We can just do it by ourselves. So in yoga, all the techniques are done at home by yourself. That is the beauty of yoga. You just got to learn how to do it and then practice it. And emotional tension, which stem from various dualities such as love, hate, profit, loss, success, failure, happiness, unhappiness. These are more difficult to erase. This is because we are unable to express our emotions freely or openly. Actually, often we refuse to recognize them. We don't want to accept them. So they are repressed. So this practice of Yog Nidra can tranquilize the entire emotional structure of our mind. It has that kind of a benefit. And mental tensions are results of excessive mental activity. The mind is a whirlpool of fantasies, confusions, and oscillations. Throughout our life, the experiences registered by our consciousness are accumulated in the mental body. From time to time, our mind explodes, and which eventually affect our body, mind, behavior, reactions. When we are sad, angry, or irritated, we often attribute that condition of the mind to superficial cause. But underlying cause behind our abnormal behavior lies in the accumulated mental tensions. And Yog Nidra is the science of relaxation, which enables each of us to dive deep down into the realm of subconscious mind. It's almost like a deep cleaning we do in Yog Nidra. Most of the people think that relaxation is very simple. Just recline and close your eyes. You are tired, so you go to bed and sleep. But unless you are free from a muscular, mental, and emotional tension, you are never relaxed. You can just put a numbing paste to it, but you need to get rid of these tensions. There could be a superficial sense of well-being. That's why most of the people, they'll just pick up something to drink or go somewhere. That's a numbing effect. Or just go out with somebody. That's a numbing effect. Outwardly, we see when people habitually bite their nails, scratch their head, stroke their chin, tap their feet, or they may even pace about restlessly or talk compulsively, or when they are constantly irritable, or if chain smoker, or drinking problem, or overeating, or undereating, obsession, any kind of obsession. These days, it could be a TV, it could be a phone. Those are all signs of tension. People do these things because they lack awareness of their own inner tension. Even while sleeping, thoughts and worries revolve in the mind. So that's why a tense person will wake up feeling exhausted. In order to relax completely, the inner tensions of the body, emotions, and mind must be released. And the practice of Yog Nidra is the scientific method of removing these tensions. The total systematic relaxation of a Yog Nidra session is equivalent to hours of ordinary sleep without awareness. This is one of the secrets of the superhuman efficiency and energy of many great yogis, past as well as present. Because we know that some people in a short period of time manage to accomplish so much. And through the practice of Yog Nidra, we are not only relaxing, but restructuring and reforming our whole personality from within. Every session, because this is supposed to be practiced, if not daily, but at least a couple of times a week. So every time we are practicing Yog Nidra, what are we doing? We are burning old sanskaras, old impressions, old tendencies. So we are transforming ourselves. So it's not only the releasing the tension and the stress, not just bringing the peace in the mind, but this is a secret of transformation. That's how we know the reality which lies within us, which we are unaware of, the absolute truth. So that's why I said you can do it in place of meditation also, but you can do it on top of meditation also if you have time. So again, Yog Nidra, if somebody asks you what is a Yog Nidra, sleep with a trace of awareness. It is a state of mind in between wakefulness and dream. And when you are practicing Yog Nidra, you are opening the deeper phases of your mind. We often want to know what is going on in somebody else's mind. This is about knowing our own mind. Subconscious, unconscious, superconscious, those are all layers of our mind. So this a simple practice of Yog Nidra has the capacity of penetrating into the depths of the human mind. That's what it really means. The subconscious mind is a very obedient disciple. Remember that. Very obedient. It immediately carries out the orders that you put in it. But if you know how to practice Yog Nidra, only then you can reach to the subconscious mind. In Hindu mythology, the symbol of Yog Nidra is Lord Narayan. You all know Lord Narayan reposing on the ocean of milk. He is lying on a large serpent with many hoods, and the beautiful Lakshmi is massaging his feet. From his navel, a lotus flower springs, seated in the Pericarpus, Lord Brahma. This is the image we all familiar with. So this means that in Yog Nidra, your unconscious manifests. Because that is like a Brahma coming out, that's unconscious. So Yog Nidra, your unconscious manifests. Your yoga mat is the serpent. And the floor underneath the yoga mat is your milk ocean. So when you practice Yog Nidra, you must completely relax. Because if you remember that Lord Narayan completely relaxed, so that's how you should be too. Because this is not a practice of concentration. You're not concentrating. All you're doing is just following the instructions. In daily life, most people are not very receptive. But in Yog Nidra, the mind assumes a very receptive phase. Otherwise, somebody tells you to do something, constantly you say, why? Even little child will question, why should I do it? But in Yog Nidra, you are in that state of mind where you follow the orders. Just as you melt iron and then cast it into a particular mold, in the same way, there is a phase in the mind when it's melting, and at the time you can cast good and creative impressions, like a new, more creative, better impressions. It's like a molding it. So receptivity of mind can be awakened only when the dissipations are annihilated. And in Yog Nidra, we do this because you go into it consciously and you are awakening the emotional structure of your mind. So another way you can understand that Yog Nidra puts us in touch with our psychic personality, which is really responsible for all that we think and we do. But we are not familiar with it. But with the help of Yog Nidra, we can start to act on those ideas in which we believe. Another thing which is very important part of Yog Nidra is Sankalpa. Very effective means of training the mind is found in Sankalpa. Because Sankalp is the one which you make for yourself during each practice. Sankalp is a Sanskrit word which can be translated as a resolution or resolve. Sankalp. It is a very important stage of Yog Nidra. And all of us can have different Sankalps. And we should, whatever we need to transform, whatever we need to do with our mind, that is our resolve. And it is a very powerful method of reshaping your personality and direction in life. Along the positive lines, Sankalp can be the creator of your destiny. Because most of us are just living a life unconsciously. It's almost like a ship without rudders. We are just, whatever happens, we just either blame somebody else or blame ourselves sometimes also, but no guidance at all. But in Sankalp, when we create a Sankalp, we are aware of the choice which we have and we are working on that choice. So Sankalp takes the form of a short mental statement which is impressed on the subconscious mind. And you don't have to tell anybody, but if you want to write it down, you can in a written form, have it in front of you. Because this is a statement which is impressed on the subconscious mind when it is receptive and sensitive to autosuggestion during Yog Nidra. So the sankalp has to be made not when you are intellectually active, but when your mind is calm and quiet. So that means maybe not in the beginning, but after doing some relaxation exercises, after doing some breathings, then think about it. What is my sankalp for today? Before and after the practice of Yog Nidra, there's a short period dedicated to sankalp. The resolve you make at the beginning of the practice is like sowing a seed. And the resolve at the end is like irrigating it. So sankalp is a determination to become something or to do something in your life. When the mind is very clear, the sankalp grows very well. Because often we just make a resolution, and in few days, those resolutions are gone. Most of the people make New Year's resolutions or birthday resolutions or anniversary resolutions. But during Yog Nidra, this is a little different. Because intellect is not deciding it. Because when we decide something intellectually, it rarely brings the result, because few days after that we forget. Because that sankalp is not planted deep enough, or it was planted when the mind was disturbed, or when the mind was not ready to receive it. So for success, the sankalp needs to be planted with strong willpower and feeling. It should be planted when the mind is relaxed and ready to accept and absorb it. See, that's why any kind of a resolution we make in front of our guru or to our guru, we take it seriously. Because mind is calm at that time and you take it seriously. So such is a state which occurs during Yog Nidra. So once the seed of sankalp is planted deep in subconscious, it gathers the vast forces of your mind. And that's how it fructifies. Got to remember that each of us has the power to remold our own mental structure. Got to know this, believe in it. No personality is beyond reformation, and fear or obsession is so deep-rooted that it cannot be changed. That's how we think. But no, yogis, they say you can change. Mind is part of the Prakriti, and in the Prakriti, anything can be changed. But we got to know how to change it. So the seed of change is found in the resolve made in Yog Nidra. That's why I'm telling you that this resolve or the sankalp is so important. Although you can use the resolve for therapeutic purposes, but it should rather be used for a greater purpose, such as achieving self-realization or a state of samadhi. Because it's such a powerful technique, you just don't want to use something which is so powerful for something which is temporary. So the purpose of sankalp is not to fulfill desires. I'm talking about worldly desires, but to create strength in the structure of the mind. You can also say that sankalp is the force of will. Sankalp can create a direction for your whole life if you use it wisely. So in what way does Yog Nidra affect the body and mind? The answer is that it relaxes the whole system, awakens the psychic body, and gives us the experience of our astral body. And it shifts pressures from the coronary system and also exerts the influence on the physical matter of the brain. So it just helps our whole entire structure. When we practice Yog Nidra, we are trying to transcend the behavior of the external mind. But when the mind becomes subtle during the practice, because at that time it becomes very mellow, it becomes very soft, and we experience a deeper level of our mind. So the fundamental difference that experiences in the Yog Nidra are much more vivid and clear. See, regular dream, we are not clear. It's a hazy. But in Yog Nidra, these experiences which we go through in our subconscious mind and in our astral mind, very vivid and clear. Because you are conscious of it. And Yog Nidra is a practice which brings the deeper layers of psyche into conscious experience. In every area of our brain, there are millions and millions of impressions. Okay? They are stored in the form of archetypes. And that's what the karmic impressions are too. And those are our impressions. Those are almost like a photographs were taken by us. The yogis, they say that we are not just a biological substance. We are a microcosmic creator. See, who is the macrocosmic creator? He is known as God, macrocosmic. Macrocosmic creator evolves the planets, universe. And the microcosmic creator, which we are, what do? We create our karmas. And then every action, every experience, we keep on creating more and more. And the karmas or sanskaras are accumulated in the layers of our inner consciousness. And during Yog Nidra, we go through those. The deepest level in which the sanskars are engraved are processed in the unconscious, where they remain latent and unmanifest. The second layer of sanskaras is not so deep. This is the subconscious level. So there's an unconscious level and a subconscious level. And then the third layer of sanskar is in the process of maturity, conscious level. So during Yog Nidra, we can go through all of them. Your consciousness travels through one layer of consciousness to another. Sometimes you'll have a very exploding experience. Just like when you meditate also, sometimes the meditation experience is pretty enriching. The same thing can happen in Yog Nidra also. Every time you go through Yog Nidra practice, it may not be same. Okay? So, systematically go through the practice without expecting anything, but definitely have a sankalpa and see how does it work for you. Some people, they even have the experience of levitation. Because when the awareness penetrates into the subconscious level, it is temporarily detached from the body idea. And that's how the levitation happens. When this disassociation takes place between mind and body, you have a lot of wonderful experiences. All these experiences which you have in the different layers of your subconscious and unconscious are nothing but the manifestation of your karmas or the sanskaras, either from this life or from previous life. So this is how the Yoga Nidra processes eliminates the whole store of karmas. It's like a cleaning your subconscious and unconscious. Sometimes the experiences of a past life arise directly, but mostly they manifest symbolically. That's why it's very important to have a guide, somebody to talk to, because you don't want to get lost into those symbols. You want to make sure that you have a better guide. So very important thing is simply to expose yourself to the instructions of the teacher. Because without the instructions, you cannot do Yog Nidra. See, meditations, you need instructions, but you don't need the guided instructions. While you are meditating, you don't want somebody else's sound. Even though these days people like to do that, but that is a deeper meditation, you don't want anybody. But in Yog Nidra, you definitely need somebody to guide you. So Yog Nidra belongs to the higher states of Raj Yoga. Remember I told you Raj Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga has 8 parts. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar. See, from Pratyahar, it starts the inner journey. Because if you remember from the Yoga Sutras, Yam is a social code. Niyam is a personal code. How do I clean myself? Keep myself content, all that. And asanas, those are the postures. Pranayam, control of the life force, the pran, the cosmic energy. And pratyahar, that's a withdrawal of the senses. So I was telling you that Yog Nidra starts from there, pratyahar. Then dharana is the concentration, dhyan is the meditation, and samadhi is the transcendental absorption. Okay, so Yog Nidra belongs to the higher states of Raj Yoga. It's also called Antaranga Yoga, Antaranga Sadhana. It has nothing to do with the outer world. So it is essentially a method of pratyahar. Awareness is progressively withdrawn from the external world. And what is external world? The body, the process of breathing, the conscious mind, and finally the unconscious mind also. All that is external. So that's why in advanced stages of Yog Nidra, it will involve dharana and dhyan and samadhi also. So mind gradually becomes, when you are following the instructions, mind becomes one-pointed. Awareness is maintained. How? By concentrating on the auditory channels, because you are listening. Rest of the senses are closed. You are only listening and following the instruction. So the rest of the terminals are disengaged and their connections in the cerebral cortex are dissociated, so that no message gets through any other motor organs. And when the senses are disconnected, for sometimes in Yog Nidra, this is what's called pratyahar. Some people say that is Yog Nidra equivalent to hypnosis? Because often people say that hypnosis also, somebody is telling you something and you do it. Is it like that? Answer is no. They are two totally different sciences. They start from the same point of relaxation and receptivity. But Yog Nidra proceeds in one direction and hypnosis in another. Because throughout the Yog Nidra practice, one important instruction is always given do not sleep. You must try to maintain awareness. You are relaxed, but do not sleep. You are not conscious on the sensory level, but you are conscious of practicing Yog Nidra. Brain is completely awake. It definitely receives a higher quality of stimuli and develops a different type of awareness than what we are experiencing now. However, in hypnosis, the subject is led into a deep sleep in which the brain is completely shut down. The consciousness is confined to a small area and the capacities are limited. This is a very tamasic condition. While Yog Nidra increases the capacity and creates a sattvic condition. According to yoga, there are three important nadis or energy channels. In the physical body, they are known as Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Ida conveys the mental force, Pingala, the vital force, and Sushumna, the spiritual force. In scientific terminology, they are referred to as a sympathetic, parasympathetic, and central nervous system. So throughout our lives, Ida and Pingala nadis are continually feeding the brain with the necessary stimuli, which enable is to cognize an object, sound, or even an idea. If you close off Ida and Pingala by means of pratyahar, then the brain is isolated, that is hypnosis. But if at the same time you can awaken Sushumna, then the central nervous system is awakened, and in place of Ida and Pingala, Sushumna will supply the necessary energy and stimuli to the brain. So this is one big difference between hypnosis and Yog Nidra. During Yog Nidra, because Sushumna nadi is functioning, the brain receives a higher quality of stimuli and a different type of knowledge. In Yog Nidra, one learns to induce his own state of relaxation by following the spoken instructions. And the instructor is only a guide. It is a technique, not the instructor, but the technique which leads the mind to illumination, which is independence of judgment, not the instructor. So the practitioner consciously cultivates his own inner faculties and allows the intuitive inner knowledge to blossom forth. In hypnosis, however, the therapist generally dominates the mind and will of the subject. That's a hypnosis. The brain is the physical mediator of consciousness, linking mind, body, and emotions into one harmonious unit. So the progressive movement of awareness through the parts of the body not only induces physical relaxation, but clears all the nerve pathways of the brain. And it's very important to go through the whole process. It's like a precise order of rotation of consciousness throughout the body parts is very, very important. And that's what I was telling you, that 61 points of Shavasana in your own body, 61 points. And that's how it induces the flow of pranic energy. And that's how when you practice it repeatedly, you get familiar with it. You don't have to think about it. You just follow the instruction and the sequence and a very rapid interning effect, and there's no dissipation of energy when you follow that. It's a very, very powerful technique. To achieve that higher consciousness by expanding and liberating our lower level of awareness. Because otherwise, normally we are just focused on our physical body. But in Yog Nidra, the first experience to be awakened is sure, definitely you start with the body, but feeling of the body, I'll tell you that it's very heavy. This physical heaviness in a whole body sensation will definitely relax your muscles. I have seen that some people use very, very heavy towels or very heavy blankets to get the muscular tension out. But in Yog Nidra, you really don't have any kind of a heavy towel, but mentally you just feel that your body is heavy. And I will tell you that feel that your body is so heavy that it's sinking into the floor. And the command which I will give you is let go. Let go. When we let go of this body, that's where the relaxation comes. That is the art of relaxation. Even an ordinary Shavasana, when we do, we use this command, let go, let go. So the initial purpose of Yog Nidra is to relax the body, mind. Last stage of this practice is that try to disassociate yourself from the body and mind. Okay, if you can understand this. Because tension, stresses, strains, we just identify with this body so much. And the essence of who we are, we never paid much attention. So in Yog Nidra, we'll get to the depth of this. And you are all familiar with the different layers of this body. Pranmay Kosh, Anmay Kosh, Pranmay Kosh, Manomay Kosh. So these are the different layers. That's how we just disassociate from all these different layers of our personality. Now I want to go through the technique which we are going to go through in this 30 minutes or 45 minutes of practice. I'm sure in the morning you did some exercises. Everybody should do some kind of exercise, whether it's a walking or treadmill, yoga exercise, some kind of a movement according to our own age and the body type. Some exercise we should all do. Just like we eat every day, we should exercise every day. Okay, it doesn't have to be vigorous, but some of the exercises. And I would say stretching, relaxing, movement of all our limbs, all our joints. And some of the little more difficult exercises, if you can do, that's even better. The Sarvangasana, the Chakrasana, the Dhanurasana. If you're familiar with those, definitely do that. Agnisar also, do that so that there's a better cleansing done in your body. Some exercises we do while standing up, some lying down, some sitting down. Okay, make sure you do that. You will see that it will help your Yog Nidra practice. So don't do Yog Nidra right away, first thing in the morning. That's not the right way of doing it. Make sure that you do some exercises. So exercises with the movement, exercises without movement also, without much movement. Systematically learn how to relax also. That's how you are giving a signal to your body that make sure your body listens to you. This is the house you live in. So well cared house is a good house. So that's why these things are very, very important. Okay. Then after that, when we practice, I will tell you to just bring your attention on the top of the head all the way down to your toes. First, get to know your body. Feel the air around you. And then you will be lying down on your back in a Shavasana. And Shavasana is where your legs are little apart, hip width apart, and your arms are also away from your body, and then palms are facing up. So I'll ask you to lie down like that. Closing your eyes is very important. And it's always a good idea to have a little blanket over you, because you'll be lying down for half an hour, 45 minutes. You don't want to feel cold. Little meditation blanket. So even when we meditate, we always have a little shawl or a blanket over us. Okay. So for Yog Nidra, do the same thing. Make sure you are wearing socks. Just have a little pillow underneath your head. Not a big pillow, just a very, could be a folded towel. Folded towel underneath your knees also, to give extra support to your knees. And if you want to cover your eyes with the eye patch, that's okay too. But if your room is dark, you don't need that. Okay. So again, lying down on your back in a Shavasana. That's what I'll tell you to do. Then what do? I'll tell you to just bring your mind towards a certain part in your body. That's the instruction I'm going to give you. It's like a point of energy. Visualize it. It's almost like a star, shining star in that part of your body. And we'll go through the whole body. Let me just tell you how we're going to go. We'll start with the eyebrow center, right over here, the Agya Chakra. And we'll stop for a few seconds there. Then I'll tell you to move your attention towards the throat center. So forget about the rest of the body, just that one part. You're supposed to think that there is a beautiful light of energy emerging. Then right shoulder joint. Then right elbow. Right wrist. Then tip of the right thumb. So then you'll go through all the fingers. So like a small portion of your body, you'll go through it. So first the right side, then the left side. Then you will come to the throat center again. Heart center. The tip of the breasts. Then navel. Then hip joint. Then going down all the way to your toes. Okay. So idea is that you pay attention to the command and do what you are told while lying down, and disassociate with the rest of the body. So 61 points in your body will go through sequentially. So that's why it's very important to have the guidance. Okay. And the guidance from a person you have faith in. That's very important. Okay. And or a guidance from a person whose voice is commanding also, soothing also. That's very important too. Because if it's irritating, then you won't follow it through. And if it's not commanding enough, you'll say, hey, I'm not going to do it. See, that conscious mind of ours, that intellect of ours is very powerful. It can accept it, it can reject it. So we got to be in the right frame of mind. After that, I will tell you, be aware of your breath. So this itself will take about half an hour, going through this 61 points Shavasana. Then I'll ask you to just lie down on your left side. Sometimes people get a little confused. If I'm asking you to lie on the left side and I'll tell you to breathe as on the right side. So it's all you're doing is just bringing your awareness on that part of your body, even though breathing is happening with the lungs. But just be conscious of the right side of your body. And just think that there's a pranic flow from the head all the way down to the toes. Few times, 10 times I'll tell you, just go from the top to the bottom, then come back up again. So it's just like energizing the whole body. Then I'll tell you to just move on the other side and the same way breathe. Then I'll ask you to lie down on your back and take 10 breaths, like a breathing the whole body 10 times. So when I say this, breathing the whole body from the ground all the way to the toes. Then after that, I'm going to ask you to go deeply into the Agya Chakra and stay there for some time. This can be done sitting up. Sometimes I teach it to the people sitting up, sometimes lying down also you can do it. Okay? But when I tell you to sit up, only then you sit up. Then meditating on the eyebrow center, then meditating on the throat center, then meditating on the heart center for a little longer. Okay? And then you might ask, when do I make a resolve? That sankalapa. Sankalapa, before you lie down, you make a sankalapa. Why am I doing it? What do I really want to change in myself? What part I want to transform? And smaller, the better. Because don't just have a vague idea, I want to become better. Okay, just be specific about it. What do you want this practice to give you? And nobody has to tell anybody. You just think it through. And today, if you don't want to make a resolve, that's fine too. But next time when you do it, because today you are just learning, but next time when you really do it, then make sure either write it down on a piece of paper or just be clear about it. And then when you're done with all these 3 eyebrow center, throat center, and the heart center meditations, at that time, whatever your sankalp was, just send it out to the universe. Because universal consciousness is nothing but my consciousness. So that's how the universe supplies back to us. Okay, so it's almost like you are sowing the seed and eventually you will reap the fruits. We have just become so narrow-minded. We think just me and mine, but this Sankalp Shakti, we expand ourselves. We don't live in this vacuum. We are not by ourselves. We are all connected. We are all connected with that universal force also. So this Yog Nidra takes us to that level. So then I'll ask you to just rub your hands, put the warmth and that nice feeling on your eyes, and slowly you get out. Because after keeping your eyes for so long closed, then you want to open them up slowly. So let me in summary tell you what are the benefits which yogis tell us we'll get. our nervous system will be relaxed. And fundamental, according to the yogis of this body, is our nervous system. They say even the blood pressure or diabetes, a lot of other ailments, modern days ailments, they are from a weak nervous system. So when this nervous system relaxes, it becomes better. This Yog Nidra relaxes our heart and skeletal muscles. It gives us a deep rest, helps reduce sleeping time, deepens self-awareness, helpful for high blood pressure, gastric or peptic ulcers, circulatory problems, stress-related illnesses, or even the disorders associated with the aging. Okay, so a lot of benefits, but remember, exercise is very important before, exercise with the movement, exercise without movement. And without movement is that Agnisar and all those internal exercises, yogic exercises which we do. Then 61 points, Shavasana, and then breathings, breath awareness practice, and then ultimately meditating on these 3 centers. And while practicing, do not fall asleep. In any day when you fall asleep, what do? Because there could be a day when you do fall asleep while starting it. End the practice. Because otherwise you are not going to get the benefit. It's better to just go to sleep then. Okay? So it's not a sleeping exercise. It is a meditative exercise. So that's why it's very, very important. So we said that we will finish this by 12:30. We still have some time. So if anybody wants to ask a question, we can spend some time right now. Because it's still fresh to you. So any question?
हर्ष जी,
Yes, Shima.
मुझे बताइए कि मैं तो अभी तक योगा वगैरह नहीं कर रही हूँ, तो will I be able to benefit with this? Will I be able to do it?
Yeah, still do it. That's fine. Yes.
Do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you should do some of yoga, some simple exercises. You can still do it. Like sitting there, moving the arms up, just shaking your hands, moving your shoulders.
Body.
Right?
Okay.
Some exercises we should all do it.
I know I should do it, but
yeah, moving the neck, we should definitely move all the joints should be moved every single day.
Yeah.
You can do it while sitting on the chair, sitting on the bed. Some stretches, some relaxing. We should definitely do. Okay?
Do it, yeah.
So if today you haven't done it, that's okay. You can still do it. But starting from tomorrow, spend at least 10 minutes for yoga.
Sure.
Yoga exercises or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's just like this structure of ours should be moved, stretched, relaxed every day. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, Pooja has a question.
Yes, Pooja.
I think I had the same question. I didn't exercise today, so do you think just on the break we should do something? Is that what Auntie asked? I think.
She said that she cannot do it because she's not feeling well. So, but Pooja, during break, do a few exercises. I think,
And is the Agya chakra, our third eye, like the pineal gland?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right here in between the 2 eyebrows, right over here. You know, there's a little dip. If you put your finger on it, there's a little dip over here.
Is that your pineal gland?
Pineal gland, maybe the doctors can tell you, it's in the brain, in the back. But it's in the brain. But over here, it's just a dip over here.
Okay, so when we do this, we should be focusing on that.
You are supposed to focus right over here between the 2 eyebrows. Okay, inside, not outside, inside, right over here, where that, see, wherever these chakras are, there is a little dip in there. See, over here also we have a dip,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So it's like an indentation in there, and the chakra is right behind it. Then there's a dip over here between our chest also, then dip in the navel, then dip down there too. So all the chakras, they have a little dip. Even this Hersh chakra, when the baby is born, there is a soft spot over here.
So when
This
we,
kind.
would you say that sankalp, when you're saying resolve, is it the same as setting an intention?
Yes, setting an intention. That's right.
Okay.
Yes, but to make sure that intention is always not to do with the physical life. That I should get more money, or I should win a lotto ticket, or okay.
Okay.
So this is to heighten our spiritual life.
Okay.
Hershey, can you give a couple of examples of sankalp that one can take?
Oh, okay. Examples of a sankalpa. Sankalp could be that I want to help others. I want to do more seva. Because anything which will bring more spirituality into life. Or even if somebody has a tendency of talking too much. Okay. Because that's how we dissipate our energy. I want to conserve more energy. I don't want to waste time. Because time is a very precious resource. So those could be sankalps too. Because sometimes we are not aware of these. So when we pay attention to it, then we are aware of it. Okay. So I'm not saying that it cannot be physical. It can be physical, but controlling the physical, am I moving towards more into the spiritual life or not? Movement should be towards that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Prem,
Yes.
Prem has a question.
Yes, Prem.
You have to unmute yourself, Prem.
Namaskar ji.
Namaskar.
Hershey, did you say that you can introduce new impressions during Yog Nidra?
New impressions, no. What you are doing is erasing the old impressions.
Okay, okay.
Okay. You're erasing, because old impressions are the one which are like, it's almost like a dust or a crust on in our chit. So we want to clean that up.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Jyoti,
One
unmute.
question. Yeah, Dr. Chandra.
Oh, I no question. Very nice. I'm listening deeply. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
So you all have your yoga mats